everybody. Today is an absolute fantastic day. Welcome to the Energy News Beat. My name's Stu Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. And I've got the pleasure of having Sara Stogner. And I'm telling you what, I am so excited. She is running for the Texas Railroad Commission, and she's in a runoff. She's a little bit of a wildcat running around out there. And welcome to the podcast today, Sara. I cannot wait to have this conversation.
Well, thanks for having me.
And tell me where you're in Texarkana right now?
I am actually on the road. I was in Austin this morning and I'm headed to Texarkana now. And so we just literally pulled over off of I-35 in Central Texas, just a little bit north of Waco.
Oh, outstanding. Well, thank you for taking the time. I just feel very honored, and our listeners are going to really enjoy hearing your side of what's going on in the Texas Railroad runoff here. So you are an underdog, and I don't know how you say under unicorn, or you've always had that unicorn as your logo. Tell us a little bit how, or you wanted to become a railroad commissioner, and how you got started, and then how we got into the runoff. So tell us why you're wanting to be a commissioner.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't know that I really want to be a commissioner. I just feel like I'm the most qualified. But yeah, no, do I really want to take a pay cut and move to Austin? Not really, but I do love this industry, and I feel like we're at a crossroads, and I feel like we need some real leadership to step up and sacrifice, because we've got issues. But yeah, no, so kind of big, long story short is I've been an oil and gas lawyer for 14 years. I've lived in the Permian for 5, and have always represented operators, service companies, midstream guys in mostly contractual risk allocation negotiations, and then litigation when necessary. So I'm a well-controlled attorney. A blowout happens, I show up, and then we help litigate issues later.
Wow.
Specifically, insurance coverage is where I really learned most of my technical skills, is from representing operators in complex blowouts and then suing the insurance companies to get paid. And so moved out onto a cattle ranch last summer and had an old well that had been plugged by Chevron in the 90s come unplugged, and it was flowing 10-pound brine at surface. And I knew from my well control experience that was kill weight fluid and that something was really wrong, and thought, oh, good, it's Chevron. They're a good company. They'll step up to the plate and do the right thing. And unfortunately, what happened over the next several months was anything but. They went to the Railroad Commission and complained about the landowner. The Railroad Commission lawyered up against the landowner. So if you're a criminal in the state of Texas, or you're a landowner complaining about oil and gas, you get lawyered up against by the state. Just realized that we needed that the system was broken, and that I couldn't be a lawyer representing my clients and really helping in a broken system, right? We needed the system to work as intended. And over the years, we've kind of gotten to the point in the court system and the regulatory system that it's pay to play. And if you don't have, millions of dollars to go and throw at lawyers and that process, you really get left behind. And so it became evident to me what started out as, okay, I'll throw my name in the hat. I'll pay $3,700 to be on the ballot, really turned into, we had that geyser that formed in Crane County in January. That was the visual I needed to get some more press coverage. And then, yes, my Super Bowl ad that kind of, I think put us over the edge for name recognition and trying to get people to actually care about this race. Because unfortunately, if you're not in the oil and gas industry, most people in Texas aren't aware of what the Railroad Commission does, and really aren't included in the process.
The Railroad Commission is a horrible name because it does impact the oil and gas industry for the United States. It's not just it is a very widespread impacting commission, and everybody thinks, oh, it's a railroad commission. It's a lot more than that. So are you going to have a new name put on it?
I don't think I have jurisdiction. I don't to rename it, but I would support that. I know that it's been kind of an issue over the years. And when I asked Christy Craddock about it a few years ago at a Women's Energy Network event, And she said, well, the reason we don't change the name is because it would be a waste of tax dollars. You know, it's going to cost millions of dollars to rebrand everything. And at the time, I thought, yeah, I mean, I'm fiscally conservative. Let's not waste money. It's kind of a neat heritage piece of history of Texas. And then now the more I get into it, I realize I think it's intentional at this point. They enjoy that most people don't understand that they no longer have jurisdiction over railroads, and they use it to keep people in the dark. And so I would absolutely support renaming it. I don't support it being another, gubernatorial appointment. I think it absolutely needs to stay an elected position, but I would support changing the name.
Well, fantastic. So as you go through this, you're in a runoff. Nobody would expect this. So as you're getting ready for your campaign, you're going to Texarkana. You have another 2 months of just running around Texas. You have a driver. I just saw on your LinkedIn. This is pretty cool. Are you having a good time meeting everybody?
I am. I mean, I'm having a blast. I'm having way more fun than I probably should.
So in the environment and everything else with Texas, ERCOT, the whole Railroad Commission, what are some of the biggest things that you want to change? Your story and your involvement as an attorney, and you having that vision is far superior than a lot of other folks that are already on the commission with that background. I have not heard that kind of a nice story from anybody that's on the commission.
Yeah, no, I mean, the ones that are there, right? Christy's a career politician, Wayne's a career politician, and Jim's an industry guy that, kind of came out of nowhere. So I think that, I'm hopeful that I do have I've got an economics undergrad, a law school degree, and 14 years of industry experience. So I am prepared to go in, and obviously 1 out of 3 people can't do anything on their own, but I'm hopeful that what I can do is bring my personality, my transparency to the commission. So, if I'm elected, I'll be posting on LinkedIn, talking about the day, going live on TikTok and inviting people to comment and participate, because I think for too long, that's been the problem, is we don't have transparency and we don't have all of the stakeholders that are affected in the room. And that's really important.
It's refreshing. I'm not a politician fan, and it is so nice that you're not a politician. I think we ought to vote them all out personally.
Yeah, I say fire them all. I agree. I mean, look, we need term limits. We need ranked voting, right? So that people can cast a vote and not fear that they're throwing it away. I mean, I think we can, if we want to, we can tackle a lot of these political challenges with just some, people standing up.
With the administration begging Saudi Arabia and with the Biden putting the sanctions on the Russian oil, we're in a geopolitical mess right now that we've never seen before. And with the world energy crisis was, in my opinion, brought on by 25 years of bad energy policy, forcing everybody to go to renewables. Let's leave the discussion of whether or not there's climate change or any of that off the table just for now. We've got to get the lowest cost kilowatt per hour to everybody with the least amount of impact on the environment. And natural gas is the way to do it. We're going to have oil and gas, and then we're importing 700,000 barrels a day from Russia. The one that got me was, the Iranian sanctions. California is now importing 20% over the last 5 years from Iran, even when they were under sanctioned. So, we sit here and we say, drill, baby, drill, but we're going to still need oil. I mean,
because we can't refine it, right? We haven't built refineries to refine our sweet crude.
Exactly. So what are you going to say if somebody comes up and says, but we don't need Russian oil? What are you going to say there? Or how is your thought on the future of oil? This is a mess.
It is. And I think, my entire platform has been intellectual honesty. And I think for too long, we've had policy decisions that have been made based on political motives on 2, 4, and 6 year timelines, not 100,000, 10,000 year timelines. And look, you know, if you'd asked me a year ago, I probably would have had a different opinion before I started seeing some of the issues with our operations in Texas. And I
Right.
was drill baby drill. Now, and the longer we go, we have gotten so good at the technology of extracting, right? I mean, what we thought our reserves were 10 years ago, we've now 10x that. And who's to say, right, with what we're leaving still in shale. So I think we're going to continue to get much better at extracting it. What we need to get better at doing is, having long-term policy decisions.
Right.
Where is the energy? Where is the processing? Where is the demand going to be? And planning that, because if we're intellectually honest, probably what needs to happen is everybody needs a couple solar panels and a small little wind turbine on their building, and that provides some of their power, and then we supplement. But we need to look at nuclear, we need to look at geothermal, we need to be looking at hydro, we need to be looking at all sorts of different options and making them based on scientific data for cost benefit analysis, because there is no such thing as green energy, right? Everything has a cost, and batteries and rare earth minerals and solar panels and all of this. And I think for far too long, decisions have been made because of who are the lobbyists pushing and where are the big businesses coming in. And instead, we need to be looking at what's best for the people and what's best to make sure that we don't have these really important economic implications, because it's a global economy. And I think that COVID and our reliance on foreign microchips and things like this has really, I don't know, a wake up call for Americans to say, okay, look, there is a cost to things, and maybe the least expensive option short term isn't the least expensive option long term. And we've got to figure this out, because China's building, I don't know what, 15 or 20 coal-fired power plants right now. And we need reliable energy.
And they're buying a lot of coal from Russia. And now Russia is also the breadbasket, and there's going to be a food shortage because of the embargoes. And then we have all of the natural gas that is causing fertilizer shortages. So not only are we in a commodities boom, we're in an energy crisis. We have food crisis coming up. Buckle up. We're going to need all the good leaders that we can. If you walk up, and I'm going to ask you a couple fun questions. What is the most fun discussion you've had while you've been on the road?
Oh, man. I would say the best conversations that I've had have been with other candidates, right? Like cool. Yeah. And unfortunately, two of the guys that I really bonded with didn't make it past the initial election. But, you're on a circuit kind of together. And so getting to meet the other candidates, the Railroad Commission candidates, I'm friends with Tom and Dwayne now. So that was interesting. But yeah, just getting to meet the other candidates who, like me, are not really part of the establishment and just really care about our state and want to be public servants and are willing to put themselves out there. That's been I think the best conversations I've had.
Tom Slocum's an interesting cat, isn't he? I enjoyed my podcast with him. He was in his ranch on his backyard, and his dogs were mauling him. And then you're on the road, so you guys have a lot of fun out there now. So you've had your most fun talks with your other coworker, co-conspirators running down the road. What do you see as some of the biggest talking points that you have to overcome when people ask you? What are some of your biggest objections?
I think some of the biggest, what I try to avoid is getting into the social issues, right? Wayne Christian ran on a pro-life platform in 2016 and won, because that's what Republican primary voters in the state of Texas were really cared about at that point, right? And so what I've been trying to do is say, look, I can talk about those, my personal views on those, but they're completely irrelevant for this position. And so the biggest challenge, I would say, has been trying to make sure that people let's stay on topic and let's start training voters to ask questions about the specific positions, because unless you're going to be a state rep or a senator, you're not making policy decisions on a lot of these issues that the Republican Party has taken as their primary party platforms.
So are you actually going to be alive at the end of 2 months after crisscrossing the whole state?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I've got a driver.
That's a very smart move. Now, are you eating at truck stops? Because I would gain 600 pounds, and I don't know how you're going to do that.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually, post COVID, I think I was outside of Waco a couple weeks ago trying to get a meal at 10 o'clock at night because I'd been on the trail all day, had gone to events, and IHOP, I thought, okay, IHOP's open 24 hours. IHOP is now closing at 10 p.m. because of COVID. And so it has been a challenge. There's been a lot of beef jerky, Diet Coke, and peanut M&Ms. I'm not going to lie.
Well, Sarah, how can people reach out and donate to your cause? Because this is a true cause. Tell us how we can donate and how we can get involved and help you.
Yeah, so I'm not accepting campaign contributions. So I'm not accepting money. But people can certainly volunteer. If they want to reach out, they can go to my website, Sara4rrc.com, or if they scan that little QR code next to my shoulder, it'll bring them to all my information. But yeah, that's probably the best way. I am looking for help, like in different counties, if they want to print out some of my flyers to take, or to have, and then if there's events where I'm not able to attend, if there's locals that are willing to show up and maybe read a statement for me and stuff like that, I'm happy to, I'm putting that together as we speak.
Sarah, I really had so much fun, and my opinion of you just has already been high just because you're having so much fun. You're breaking the curve. You're running down that road, but you said, I don't want to take money. I got chills. Wow. Somebody running for an office that's got ethics. Wow. This is really cool.
Yeah. I have no long-term political aspirations, so I'm not trying to build a campaign coffers for a future race. And I'm going to prove that you don't need money, that we are in a new era, and that when you actually have substance behind you and a social media following, you can reach your audience. And I finally got the media's attention. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Oh, it is. And we're sure going to help see if we can get your word out there and everything else. So Sarah, thank you for pulling over and having your driver at least stop. And we do appreciate that. So hopefully we can have you back and get an update. If there's anything, please reach out to us and we'll have all your contact information in the show notes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.